Good morning from a very, very dark Iceland. It's about 6:25 and as you can see, there's virtually no one on the streets. And it's very dark. The sun won't rise for another like 4 hours. But we only have about 6 hours before our airport pickup today, and I want to make the most of it. So I'm just walking to Laugardalslaug, I think it's pronounced. Apologies if anyone is watching this is Icelandic and I've just butchered that word, because I may well have. And this is like one of the public open air swimming pool and hot tub complexes in Reykjavik, and I think more locals go here than to the Blue Lagoon. Blue Lagoon is very touristy, so it'd be cool to check out this side of sort of spa culture in Reykjavik. Opens at 6:30 and I'm going to get there about 6:40, so hopefully we'll still be quite quiet, and yeah, just go for a little morning swim in -3 degrees weather and complete darkness. This is where I'm going, Laugardalslaug. Alright, here it is. So it's an Icelandic leisure centre. Let's see what it's like. Oh, you leave your shoes here. That was really, really good. No cameras or phones allowed in there, so I couldn't take any footage in there, which is fair enough because it is a very local pool and everyone's sort of just doing their morning exercise. But it was essentially like a huge outdoor pool. I think I read that the outdoor pool is heated to 28 degrees, which was fairly warm. Like, it was okay to swim in. I probably wouldn't have wanted to just like stay still there, but then there were all the hot tubs on the side, which ranged from like I think they were sort of between 40 and 45 degrees, so I spent a bit of time in one of those as well. And so yeah, really, really good, and I do feel very relaxed now, which is nice. Obviously it's still pitch black and I'm just walking back to the hotel for breakfast. I found this tiny patch of grass amongst the snow. I don't know why it's not covered in snow, but this is the first grass I've seen the whole time we've been here. Alright, it's a little bit later. We've had breakfast. We're going to get a taxi into town, but apparently there's been a problem with the taxis and they're all running really, really late. So I'm currently walking towards the Hallgrimskirkja. Maybe that's how you say it. Probably the most famous church in Reykjavik. It's quite a famous landmark. It's quite imposing, and apparently there's a really good view from the top, so I'm really keen to check that out. So that's the main thing that I want to do today before we leave. So I'm just walking there now. It was about a half-hour walk from the hotel. I've been walking about 10-15 minutes, so hopefully not too much longer. This is a really cool city. I'm sort of walking through some of the streets that I haven't been to yet, and yeah, there's quite a lot of like street art and stuff. A lot of Christmas lights are still up as well, which makes sense when it's so dark. It's quite nice to have the Christmas lights still. Yeah, 20 to 10, still pretty dark, although it's starting to get a little bit light. You can sort of see the sunrise glow beginning there. The church that I'm going to go to doesn't actually open till 10, so I'm just sort of having a little walk around before then, just seeing where I end up. So I've walked down to the Tjornin Lake. It's completely frozen, which I should have expected really, given that it's been very, very cold. There are actually people walking on it, but I'm not going to do that because yeah, I would just be the person who ends up falling in it. So yeah, so cool. I'm going to walk up to the church now. So I've made it to the church. It looks so cool. It looks very festive still. They've still got a lot of Christmas decorations up in Reykjavik. So I'm just gonna go in now and hopefully I'll be able to climb to the top of the tower, and then I'll feel pleased with everything I've done this trip. Get the lift to myself on the way back down. Oh, that was beautiful. So nice right at the top. You can see the whole city, all of the different coloured houses, and then out to the sea, and obviously the snow-covered mountains in the background. So yeah, really nice way to finish off my time in Iceland. I think I'm going to get the bus back now because we've already done 11,000 steps. It's not even 10:30 yet. But yeah, I think I'm going to get the bus back to the hotel and get ready to leave, sadly. Definitely want to come back probably next winter to see a little bit more of the winter activities, and see a bit more of Reykjavik as well. Like, I feel like I have got a good idea of the vibe of the city now and stuff, but there's a few more museums, and I would have liked to do a walking tour actually. I didn't realise that there is actually a walking tour you can do. So yeah, definitely will be returning, but I'm gonna try and find a bus now to take me back to the hotel. In the UK, and I just wanted to share some of my final thoughts about visiting Iceland, and specifically about visiting Iceland in the winter. So as you can probably tell from my videos, I had an amazing time in Iceland in January. It was just a complete winter wonderland. It was so cold, but the weather made it so beautiful, and I felt okay as long as I put on lots of extra layers, which I obviously did. So I definitely think it's worth visiting in January. Obviously we were very lucky with the weather. While it's not usually that cold, it's usually not that clear. So we had cold temperatures but clear skies, sunshine, and yeah, we had so much snow, but it was all the sunlight was reflecting off the snow, which just made it such a beautiful atmosphere. Iceland is known for being very unpredictable with the weather, so obviously for other January trips people might not be so lucky. Actually, the weather now is a lot warmer. This is the following week. It's a lot warmer, sort of getting, you know, well above freezing. So yeah, I feel like it can be very interchangeable throughout the winter, and I know that what we had was very special. This kind of brings me on to packing for Iceland. So on reflection, I should have had more waterproof skiing clothes. Things like salopettes, an actual like proper ski jacket, yeah, just something a bit more thermal. What I had was okay, and it was okay because I didn't spend that long walking around when it was super cold. But if I'd spent any longer outside, I think I would have started to get cold, especially the day we did the Golden Circle. So I definitely would recommend a layer of thermals, an intermediary layer, so like tracksuit bottoms and a jumper, and then ski gear, so salopettes and a ski jacket, or a ski all-in-one or something like that. Other than that, I think I packed pretty well. I think I pretty much had everything that we needed. The only thing that I do kind of wish I'd taken is a few more snacks, because we had that one night at the Blue Lagoon when, well, we left the Blue Lagoon and we got back to Reykjavik at about 9, and there wasn't really anywhere to eat then, so I just had to have some crisps and chocolate from the vending machine downstairs. So that was if I'd had some more snacks, if I'd had some instant noodles or something, which I could have easily put a packet or two of those in my case, then I think that would have been quite a lot better. Costs. So with the package we did with Icelandair, we paid £700 each, so that was to have our own rooms. Hotel was bed and breakfast, and then it was 2 activities, the Blue Lagoon and the Northern Lights tour, and the flights, and it didn't include transfers. I had to pay for transfers on top of that. Everything was kind of paid for before we went. We also paid for a Golden Circle tour before we went, so the only things we did end up having to pay for were pretty much dinners and anything extra that we did in Reykjavik. Yeah, we were looking at about £20 a dinner. We didn't drink anything, which obviously kept costs down quite a lot. And then in Reykjavik, I think we just spent It was about £20 to do fly over Iceland. Going up to the top of Hallgrimskirkja was about £12, I think. This is all very rough figures, just off the top of my head. And the sightseeing bus tour was about 25 quid, which I don't really think is worth the money. So yeah, we didn't actually spend that much money once we were out there because we bought this package. So I think if you do want to budget in Iceland, what I would recommend doing is booking everything before you go. Even if you don't book a package, you'll obviously book your flights and your accommodation, and then you can book tours on Get Your Guide, so you have a good idea of how much everything will be in those terms, and then just budget £20 or so per meal that you have outside of any bed and breakfast or anything like that. And if you're doing it on a budget, I'd recommend avoiding alcohol, because obviously that is just an extra expense. So I didn't find it that crazily expensive, to be honest, but I think that was probably because we paid for a lot of things a few months before, and I'd sort of, you know, I'd already sorted all of that out, so I didn't have that much more expense when we were there. So the next thing I want to talk about is the activities. I think the activities that we did were really good. I think they were great for first time in Iceland. We saw the main bucket listy attractions. There's obviously more that I would have liked to have done if I'd had more time. But I think that what we did see was a really good intro to Iceland. So we did the Golden Circle tour, which was amazing, and although it is touristy, I think if it's your first time in Iceland, I think it's just something that you've got to do, because the waterfalls and the Thingvellir National Park are spectacular, even in, and I'd argue especially in, winter, because the snow just completely enhances the landscape. Blue Lagoon was really good. I'd probably choose to go to the Blue Lagoon in the daytime if I could, if I had booked it all again, or maybe for sunset. That would probably be the prime time, because you'd see it in day and night, because it was cool during the night. It was very eerie, and it felt like you were sort of swimming to the edge of the world. But you couldn't see much. So, you know, it's a bit of a toss-up. You couldn't see why it was blue. So I probably would do that in the daytime, or, you know, or dusk time, if I had the chance to do it again. I would also like to try the Sky Lagoon as well and see the difference between the two. Then it was really cool to see Reykjavik's attractions. I definitely could have done another day exploring more of Reykjavik, exploring a few more museums. There's actually a lot to do there, so I would recommend devoting at least one full day in Reykjavik onto your itinerary. You could easily spend 2 full days seeing everything there, so definitely add on some time to do that, because it's a really cool city. It's just got a really nice atmosphere about it. I'd also really like to do a South Iceland tour, which goes to some of the black sand beaches and the waterfalls along the south coast. And oh, there's so many things, glacier tours. I'm already planning a trip back there basically, but I think what we did was really good for our first time in Iceland. The only thing that I would definitely wish we'd done is booked another day, just so we had a little bit more time to explore Reykjavik at a more leisurely pace. But I'm very happy with the trip. I had a great time. I really feel like I got a good essence of Iceland, and yeah, like I say, hopefully I'll be returning before too long, because it was a really amazing place and we had an absolutely spectacular time. I hope you've enjoyed this Iceland series. If you have, I'll be doing a Norway series quite soon, which is going to be Norway in winter. I'm going to be going to Bergen, to the fjords, and up to Tromsø in the north. So stay tuned for that, and I hope I'll see you there. Thank you. Bye.